But okay, yeah, climber, third section. So like now your benefits of a climber, when you'd use it, and then just give an overview of like the new climber and the upgrades. So
for me, this is going to be a new crossover, but just in climbers in general, if you're in woods that 80% of the timber you can get a climber in, I'm down with that. I used to hunt upper Wisconsin, logged out areas. I could go anywhere, in any situation, read the sign and be able to get my climber in there. If you're in an area where it's flipped, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If you got to go in there and start trimming trees out, but there's a lot of Pennsylvania, down south, like Jake had mentioned, some of these big logged out areas up here where the trees are straight, limbless. A climber is so efficient, it's literally from having it on your back to being on a tree, 2.5 minutes, up and climbing without sweating any effort if you're using a hand climber. Or if you're younger and in shape, I used to run the hand climber with nothing else on it, and that version was 16.5 pounds back there, which was half the weight of most of the competition. And I would literally, there would be times where I would run hours scouting and never find a situation I'd want to hunt. So I had to pack that stand in and just take it with me. This thing's coming in at 11.5 pounds for a 2-piece hand climber, around a little over 12 if you put the sit and climb bar in there. And for the extra couple ounces, I'm definitely going to run the bar. But we've done some different things. There's probably not a lot of guys here familiar with the old climbers.
Have you guys ever run any of the old climbers?
So you guys are, there's quite a few guys filming with the climber. So what we've done on this stand is the old hand climber, it's there, it's in your way. You need extra space out on the end of it because it just cuts you off. With this one, someone was mentioned they didn't realize this half moon design. This is allowing you to get back up against the tree without moving any equipment. It's giving you almost more, this is a 23-inch long platform, but on a 29-inch long old style one, I literally got more room probably on this one when I'm standing than on the other. Same with the seat design. It's geared towards smaller equipment, smaller metal, but like the seat pad is cantilevered on there, so when you get it on there, you're literally got 2 inches of foam making a longer seat for you that's supported under here, so you don't have that extra 2 inches of aluminum out here. You don't have the extra width that you have to bring there. This is as lean as means you'll probably get, and we spent a lot of extra time on getting this down this light. It was an effort. We went through a lot of frames, we wanted to get that flex out of the platform. When I design all my stands, I want them so at about 200 pounds, there's very little flex in the platform. Then that allows a guy that's 250, 300 to get on there with some manageable flex. These stands that are flexing for a 200-pound guy it's the worst thing you want. They're leaning, they're flexing. Just think if your stand was full of ice or slick, you're off and you're gone. So you want that main portion of that stand to stay rigid. So, and this does it pretty easy. I had a little bit later when we were trying to get under that 11-pound range in that 10. It was just a struggle. So here's a big feature that obviously they redesigned these backpacks now. Now all of these areas where your backpacks are nice radius spots that are built into there for your pivoting. So when you're moving around, you're not cutting up your straps. They got these straps up top now that will move the weight around. But the big feature of this one is now we're tying in the hand climber actually to the platform with we were going to start with a J-hook. What I came up with was a pin system that's easier. So when you stack your stand on there for the day, you have 2 grommets, just like our sticks, fit in 2 holes here. You got pockets on your cams that go over a bolt here, and you have literally a bolt that'll stay with the seat that'll lock that in. Then you don't even need straps if you don't want them. You just basically set that in there, grab your thumb screw from the back, loosen her up, do a quarter turn, and there's a slot in the back here. You just drop in there and snug her up. You tighten that up and then that thing's not going anywhere. This is optional, your sit and climb bar. You could be running this without that bar and it makes it even more compact. Other things on here, if you notice this aggressive teeth, this stand's so light you don't have a lot of anything on the tree you're hanging to, so where a stand that's heavier has that an advantage for it to bite a tree. This is so light that we overcompensated teeth so we get a good bite with the teeth, and they work nice. They're might be a little dangerous if you end up hitting yourself with them, but you can knock the edges off if you wanna. I like a nice sharp teeth, and then years ago I used to actually file mine down to a nice little point to start them. Hand climber, 4 pounds. Stand's gonna come in at 7.5. What we did a little different on this now is we're sticking with my original design of the belt. We got smaller hinges on here. And all of these hinges, if you're familiar with the old climbers, even on the base, they all were at an angle that if they weren't tightened up or if they came out of the step, the stand could collapse. Everything's over center design, so even a loose knob now, you're over center, so you literally have to have weight off the stand or be able to pick it up to get to collapse. So it's a safety feature that came up. It snug these up. Here's your seat. This is your main frame of your seat. When you get, and we'll have one on a tree later that you can, when you stand up to take a shot if you want to, you literally can slide your seat right out of the way and get completely up against the tree. If you have the seat pad on, you're gonna just reach back and flip this up before you do that. And now you're up where you want to be. You don't want to be standing out. You're up against your tree. You got your shoulder against there, your back against there, and you got plenty of platform space to turn and move around. Where with the old one, you stood up, you're out away from the tree, and you're kind of paying attention because it's a little sketchy out there when you're hanging on there, and you only had a little bit of platform space on it. This model will have traction, obviously, put in it once it's done. Sit and climb bars, micro bar. We started out with the 1-inch tubing. We went down to 1-inch flat stock. We're down now to a 1/2-inch bar that weighs a pound. When you're up there hunting, if you don't like a bar around you, you can flip this down, fold it up behind you. You got an open front for bow hunting. I actually, years ago, field tested this. You can bow hunt with this out in front of you. It's up against your stomach, you're out, or your legs, you can get out and shoot easily with it. I'd leave it on and use it as an armrest while you're sitting there. You can pivot it, just leave it out. So it's got a lot of nice features to it. And I'm not built like my son anymore, and I used to be able to climb like a squirrel with these. This is so effortless now to climb. It's just no sweat at all. You probably go out there in 90-degree weather and not break a sweat just getting up a tree with this. So now you don't have to take the seat, reach back and disengage the whole thing against the tree. You don't have to. A lot of guys would take their seats and wrap it around the sides so they could, when they wanted to stand prime time. You can go from seated to standing without moving any equipment. There's also 2 stabilizer straps that are on the side once you see this set up. Once you get up there, instead of having disconnects, we have just like our stick systems now with a loop. You go over your knobs and you literally pull those 2 tight while you're on there, and it turns this whole stand into a structure. Now this ain't going anywhere. You can't bump it. It solidifies the platform, the seat, and you're almost like in a little tree fort up there. You got a bar. You know where the edges of the stand, so you can maneuver it nice and easy. Platform. Stabilizer straps will come on it. These are important, so if you were to lose the bottom, you don't want to be able to, have to lose the bottom and have to shimmy on down. But they also are great because they stabilize the stand, so you're going to want to use these. I know some guys can climb; they're not worried about losing the bottom, easy enough. It's a little less of an extra step to have, but you can actually use these then when you're done folding up to put gear, clothing under or strap an extra seat. The base, another unique thing. So before we had to tighten all these knobs up every time, screw them down, tighten them up. Now we have it's all designed so when you fold them down, there's Velcro here. You can leave the knobs loose. They snug right up on the Velcro. They don't rattle, and then they can't work their way out. So you're not going to lose knobs down the road, which was a problem with the old model stands. We had to start putting nuts on them. Same on the bottom. It's all there, so you're not really spending a lot of time having to loosen up like you used to. Stabilizer bar now. This stand will still climb old school if you want to go under here, and with smaller boots, early season might be able to go, but if you get in some bigger boots, now you can climb with your feet perfectly straight and not have, some guys had an issue with doing the pigeon-toed type setup there. So this is another patent pending feature that would double our stabilizer, as no bungees to reach down and have to struggle with. You got mud and your boots are wet. And it's also a potential dangerous situation to go down and mess with them. We've increased our cam loop now. Before they were tighter, a real bitch to get under, especially with some guys with bigger hands. So these cams now are a bigger throat. Teeth. you won't see any more aggressive. I'm the first one that put teeth to climbers back in the day when all these stands are sliding down out of there, disengaging. And I changed from the bite from the top of a stand to the bottom. And you'll see every manufacturer from here on in has got basically our original tooth design. So this is the next step up, a little more aggressive. The only downfall of this stand I'd say it would have over others is these teeth grab so well, maybe on a pine, or if you're a bigger guy and you're settling, this thing wants to grab and then it wants to stay hung to the tree. So follow the instructions before you go to take off climbing, sit down, disengage what your weight off it, and make sure those teeth are disengaged. You can set it back down, then stand on it and just climb down. It's just a simple little procedure to do. There will be holes on the side here for you to put quiver mounts on, pre-drilled. There'll be traction in the whole stand. They come with backpack straps, and there will be a premium seat that will go along with this. I'm probably going to not mess with a seat cushion. For me, this is comfortable enough, and it'll be more of a lean, mean setup, and I'm not more than 2.5 hours in a stand, so that would be plenty. You'll notice that we reversed the belts on the top. You can't readjust your bottom once you go. Everybody knows that a climber, you got to start out elevated, and then you work your way out as you go up. But the seats you can undo 2 or 3 times if you want. When you get to your final destination, you can open up these cams, adjust your seat to the exact pitch you want. Some guys like it lean down, some guys like it leaning back. I'm kind of a more right around the center. And the height, I go knee high is most comfortable for me. Any questions, anything on, one more thing on this knob here, there'll be some rubber on here, so when you're not using it, you just snug that up till that tighten up, you ain't got that rattling around on you, when in your tree.
Yeah, so in short too, if the timber you're gonna be hunting is, I think you went over that, 80-20 is a good rule of thumb. It's an awesome tool to take advantage of or have. I know that scouting certain areas, there has been times where I'd be in an area and be like, man, this would be, if a guy had a climber in here, that's all you'd need, So it's important to know where you're gonna be hunting. If you're hunting an apple orchard, absolutely not the stand for you.
So some guys will go out too, and even with a regular stand, you don't want to look for a spot to put the perfect tree to put a stand in. You want to look for a situation, and you want to adapt your tool to it. So I know guys that have climbers in the past that like to use them, they'll go and they'll have spots or funnels that they'll pre-trim and they'll do it. I wouldn't go to that extent. I want to be able to take this and use it everywhere I go. So this would be going out to Pennsylvania. And in field testing this and climbing around the property this year, I was really surprised now that I've been away from climbers so long. There are quite a few areas on our property that have a lot of hardwoods like this that we could get climbers into. Again, I can go back to when I was running and gunning with these. You can't get any stealthier than this climber. Some of the other ones with the big bulk, the noise factor, they were a nightmare. And that's what he was talking about. The whole industry went to the saddle movement because guys were used to shit like this that was 30 pounds, 25 pounds, and there wasn't a light option, So now with all the advancements in light stands, it's kind of evening itself out. So we're going light with climber also.